print mastheads took a very long time to really wake up to the consequences of the digital age. In the case of the Fairfax newspapers, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age in Australia, they were more dependent on classified advertising than any other newspaper in Australia, and more than most sort of big quality papers are elsewhere in the world. So they were particularly vulnerable because, of course, classified advertising is far more efficient and cheaper and better on the web than in newspapers. I don't know that there are any alternatives for the old model big newsroom newspaper. And I think the alternative is going to be lots and lots of much smaller enterprises with far fewer journalists doing niche jobs that appeal to small audiences online rather than these big newspapers with hundreds of people in their newsrooms. For someone who's never paid, the idea of buying a newspaper is this kind of antiquated, weird thing that the Egyptians did with papyrus. No, why will they suddenly start paying to go online and read news that they've always had for free? Very difficult to know. And I think the answer is only if you give them something that they're not used to getting free. I think that, that sort of investigative work is essential. I just think having a general conversation about stuff that matters, which is what we do through our consumption of journalism in its broadest sense, is essential to the functioning of any democratic society. So the answer to me is plainly, yes, we do need journalism in some form or another, and that means that somebody's got to pay for it. And since the old methods of paying for it are failing, I think that when we consume this stuff online, even though we're not used to paying for it, we've got to start getting used to paying for it, at least for some of it. My concern, and plenty of other people's concerns, is that when you get rid of those big newsrooms, you actually will not replace what they do. You're not going to find it economic to replace it. For example, who's going to do the court reporting in courts all over the country? Who is going to keep tabs on the local councils? Well, maybe there will be local websites that are sufficiently well supported that they can send a reporter to every local council and report on it. That kind of microgeography might work. What about state governments? Is there really any money in holding state governments to account? If the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age and the Daily Telegraph aren't going to do it, who's going to do that? Who's going to bother to read that stuff? It's not particularly well read now. So I'm sort of hoping that paywalls work, or that people can be persuaded to pay for what they haven't paid up to now. I don't know. I think paywalls probably won't work. That's my guess.